just too much. How many scars will it take? How many battles can I survive, yeah, before I embrace? Take and you take a little more. Now my own heart doesn't feel anymore. Searching, I'm searching, I long for something to cure my withered heart. My withered heart. My withered heart.
Hello, my fellow subscribers. I have some great news. I have finished the book, The Vampire Shard. It's been taking me so long, but I finally have it done. With not much, 80 pages. Woo! So I'm reading you 3 pages from my book to you guys. I'm kind of nervous because the only people that have really read the book is my closest friends, and I've asked them for advice, so I've gone through it, edit it in so I made the characters on Gacha Life just so you guys could see how they would look in my perspective, or how they're described. This is Scarlet, Mavis, Trevor, and Ben. Now you may notice Ben looks like Ben Drowned. That is because Ben Drowned is in my book. He is in my book along with every other creepypasta. There is a reason why I am not publishing this book, and I am just going to talk about the book and read the book to you guys. Is because in my book, I have creepypasta people. I have people from another series that I've watched. I have Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, I think that's all I have. I have made a few different characters. There's more than just Scarlet, Mavis, and Trevor that are different in my series. You'll have to find out. And I am already working on book number 2, so this is going to be quite interesting. Now, I am so not ready to read the first chapter. You know what? I might just read... Hold on, let me see how long the first chapter is. I might just read the first chapter. It's 5 pages, so... Whew, this is going to be quite interesting. Okay, I'm ready. Chapter 1. Today is a new day. It was just a normal day, sitting in a classroom with a few windows, a few students in class, and a teacher that doesn't stop yapping about English. My name is Scarlet Fireshield. I live alone in a treehouse secretly. I never met my parents. I was told I was left in front of a supermarket in a winter storm. Most of my life was spent with a nice lady who took care of me. Her name was Rensei. At the age of 14, I asked her if I can go get a blood test done to find my parents, to see who they really are. Rensei was okay with the idea. After I've got my blood drawn, the system showed nothing. Doctors were shocked to find out I had an undiscovered blood type. This made it impossible for me to find my parents. A year later, Rensei was stabbed to death in her sleep. The killer was never found. I was left alone, and that's when I started living in the treehouse. To this day, I wonder who my parents are and if they're still alive. To cheer my boredness from the English death, I have 2 of my friends in my class. Mavis and Trevor. I met Mavis in the hall one day when he had dropped his books. He was new at the time, so of course I showed him around the school. But that was last year. Trevor was tall. He had brown eyes and brown hair. He liked wearing white jeans a lot. As soon as I found out Trevor never met his father, he thinks he will never meet him. Trevor told me his father's name started with an H and nothing more. Mavis had a great tan-colored skin. I would always be jealous of her. Her hair was puffy and curly. Strangely, she was born with purple hair. I think it's amazing that she was born with purple hair. She's so unique. Mavis always wore long pants and belly shirt. Mavis is one of my best friends. Mavis sadly doesn't have any related family. Both of her parents had died only a week after Mavis was born. Mavis had lived with Trevor since the incident, though Mavis does wish she could see them again. The bell rings, announcing class is over. Mavis pulls my arm and drags me out of class. Come on, it's lunchtime, said Mavis. Okay, you don't have to drag me. We have to wait for Trevor, said Scarlet. Mavis slowed down and let go of Scarlet's arm. Mavis looks back at the classroom as Trevor is running towards them to catch up. Trevor's shoes slide along the floor and crashes right into Mavis, with them both falling onto the floor. I laughed a bit. Moments later, we were all laughing at what just happened. I helped Mavis and Trevor up. Can we have lunch now? Said Scarlet. Nah, it's the last day of school. No one wants to have school lunch. Besides, after school, we go home, said Trevor. So let's go somewhere outside of school for lunch, said Scarlet. Trevor and Mavis begged me to go with them. All right, fine, but I want to let our teacher know we're leaving, Scarlet said. Mavis sighed. Okay. Scarlet goes back to her classroom to let the teacher know, and by surprise, he's not in the room. Must have left already, Scarlet said. Scarlet writes a note for the teacher if he comes back, and left it on his desk. Scarlet starts to walk out of the classroom and pauses at the door. She looks back in the classroom. Have a great summer, Mr. Tinsky. Scarlet leaves and discovers that Mavis and Trevor are gone. In fact, the hallways were completely empty. Scarlet looks around the halls, hoping to see somebody. Hello, is anyone there? Scarlet said. A slight creak of a door opened behind me. It was from Mr. Tinsky's classroom. I turned around to look at the classroom, and there it was. A figure of a human body was created by a black fog. My heart stopped. I was terrified of what was standing in front of me. Second later, there was another creak, and another, and another. The halls were filled with black shadows, all looking at me. At the moment, all I could hear was my heart pounding with fear. They started whispering words I could not understand. The whispering made me shake as they spoke. I soon realized they were moving closer and closer to me. I looked around me, constantly wishing for it to be a dream. I started to close my eyes and shed tears of fear. I collapsed on the floor and hid my face in tears, wishing for this nightmare to end. I was in that position for a few minutes. I felt a hand touch my shoulder, and I opened my eyes. I looked at where the hand connects and expected a figure of black to do something to me, but instead it was Mavis. Scarlet, are you okay? Said Mavis. I was in the nurse's office, lying in a bed with cloth around my head. There was blood on my shirt, along with another cut running from the top of my shoulder to the bottom of my waist. What happened, Mavis? Where's Trevor? Scarlet said quietly. Mavis sat down and looked at me. She started to have tears run down her face. When you went to go tell the teacher, we noticed you didn't come back, so we went to check on you. You were lying on the floor with a cut on your back and your head, Mavis says as she wipes away the tears. I'm so sorry, guys. Somebody's calling the phone. Hold on. It will stop in just a second. Okay. I'm already starting to tear up a little bit, guys. I'm sorry. This book I've worked so hard on, and I'm like, Alright, back to the story. Mavis says as she wipes the tear away from her face. We noticed the blood from the back closet and Trevor went to check it out. He opened the door and screamed. A body had been lying there soaked in blood, Trevor told me. Trevor said that he had a name tag on him. It turned out to be Mr. Tinsky. He was laying on the floor with his throat sliced. Mavis' tears start rushing down her face as she tried to get rid of them. You don't have to continue, Mavis, said Scarlet, as she's truly terrified. No, I'm fine. I'll tell you the rest. Mavis takes a deep breath and calms herself down. I do the same. There was a note on the wall, written in scratches in blood. Trevor said it was a riddle of some sort, Mavis said. I look at Mavis and lay back. What did the note say? Said Scarlet. Mavis paused for a moment, then looked at me. The note said, Run, till I'm through. Leaves will fall, and that's my cue. Use me to jump in a pile. I'll take your phone so you can't dial. I'm coming for you, Scarlet. I'm your rival. Don't worry, it might be a while, said Mavis. I froze in shock, wondering who would have wrote that, and felt my head. You don't think it's someone in our school, right? Said Scarlet. Mavis laughed. Scarlet, no one would ever want to hurt you. You are like the nicest girl in school. Most likely everybody wants to be your friend, Mavis said. I laughed as I looked at her, getting myself up to go home. Trevor walks into the nurse's office and instantly gives me a hug. Thank God you're okay. I'm so sorry, said Trevor. I smiled and hugged him back. I started to feel the pain in my waist. Sorry, said Trevor. Trevor lets go of me. Let's get Scarlet home, Trevor, said Mavis. Trevor nods and places his arm around me. Mavis does the same to keep my balance. It took us an hour to get to my house because of how many breaks I needed to take on the way there. Trevor and Mavis already knew I lived in the treehouse. They were the only people I told. Trevor helped me climb the ladder because of my condition. He's sweet like that. Mavis waited for me in the inside of the treehouse. I see you've been drawing more, Scarlet, said Mavis. I get myself inside the treehouse and lay myself down on the bed. Mavis helps Trevor get inside. Trevor and Mavis made me a sandwich and brought me water. I smile at Trevor and Mavis. Thank you for bringing me home and making dinner for me, I guess, said Scarlet. No problem, Scar. We're your friends, said Trevor. Mavis and Trevor start to leave to go home. They both stopped by the door. Get well soon, they said. I smiled and waved back to them. Trevor and Mavis leave as I lay in my bed relaxed and calm. Moments later, I hear a sound from my window. I open my eyes scared. My heart was beating as loud as lightning strikes. Who's there? I said. A sound of a growl came from the window. I closed my eyes and hoped for the best. Second later, those growls turned into laughs. I opened my eyes and there he was, sitting next to me by my bed, holding my hand. I look at him and smile. You're such a brat sometimes, Scarlet said. The man placed his hand on my head and where the blood leaked through the cloth. What happened? Said the man. I knew this strange man. His name was Ben. I met Ben when I first started living here. I was taking a hike in the woods and came across a river. I walked along the river for a bit and noticed a man in a green outfit with blonde hair. He had the type of pointy ears you would see from elves and such. I found him with his face in the water, unconscious. Of course, I ran over to him and tried to give him CPR. I had noticed his eyes were a dark red color, slightly swollen too. The man coughed up some water and became somewhat alive. He had a voice of an angel. Thank you for saving me. I thought I would never be found. My name's Ben, said Ben. I look at him happy that I saved someone from their death. My name's Scarlet, said Scarlet. Ever since that day, he has been living with me and helping me around the treehouse. Remember when I said he was somewhat alive? His skin was more of a gray color. His eyes weren't swollen anymore, but his eyes were in his sockets. And his body could fly. I was amazed when I saw him fly. He was as well, I guess. Over time, I fell in love with Ben. Something attacked me at the school, and also attacked my teacher, Scarlett said. Ben goes and grabs a gauze and proper cloth wrappings. He also grabs cleaning alcohol to lightly pat on the cut. Do you want to talk about it or relax for a bit? Said Ben. I don't want to talk much about it, but I was wondering if you could solve this riddle that was placed on the wall. It was written in my teacher's blood, Scarlett said. Ben nodded and sat Scarlett up to change her wrappings and clean her cuts. Ben gets a needle and thread to stitch up the slices on my body. I can't remember correctly, but the poem said something about using me for leaves, making piles to jump in, and said it was coming for me soon. Do you know the answer? Said Scarlett. Ben froze and looked at Scarlett in her eyes. Ben sighed. Scarlett, I have something to tell you, said Ben. I looked at him, waiting for him to continue. I started to get my memories back a few months ago. I remember where I came from and who caused me to drown. I had a family, not like a wife and children, no. I had friends who were like me and took care of me. It turns out they had enemies that kidnapped me and drowned me. And the thing is, only one of them did it. Saw no one else, but I found out his name. His name was Rake, Ben said. I stood there looking at Ben, frightened but confused at the same time. I give Ben a hug. Thank you for keeping me safe and helping me solve the riddle, Scarlett said. Ben looked at her and smiled, then hugged her back lightly. Okay, so I'll stitch you up with those open wounds and wrap you back up. And I'll see if I can contact one of the people that took care of me, okay? Said Ben. I agreed to what he said. He started to take the wrappings off my head to clean. He takes a piece of gauze from his hands and dips it in alcohol. This looks like a cloth scratch, but deeper. This is Rake's work, no doubt, said Ben. I chuckle, ignoring the stings of alcohol being dipped in the cups of my skull. Ben takes the needle and thread, then carefully sews the slice on my head without giving me much pain. He places a clean and new gauze on my head and wraps it up with a cloth wrapping. One down, one to go. Could you by any chance, Ben said as his cheek turned red as an apple, and he looked to the side. I looked at him. Yeah, Scarlett said. I get myself up and use a towel to cover my chest for Ben to have access to the cut without being embarrassed. I sit at the edge of my bed. You can sew the wound back now, Scarlett said. Ben starts to clean up Scarlett's back from the blood and stitches the open wound. Ben tries to make me feel better by making silly faces at me whenever he paused. I love that he is trying to make me feel better after what happened to me. After he finished stitching my wound, he places the gauze over my wound and carefully wraps it without looking at my chest. Ben, would you like me to wrap up my own chest so that you feel comfortable? Scarlett asked. Ben nodded with his tomato-red cheeks and handed her the cloth wrappings. Scarlett wraps the rest of the wound on her chest. Done, said Scarlett. Ben was on the phone with somebody, so I didn't bother him. I finished tying the cloth and laid myself back down. I can't believe I still remember your number after all this time. Listen, I need your help with something. It involves the enemy. Are you willing to help? I don't know, man. Things have changed a lot out here. Come on, I haven't seen you since I was alive. Alive? Ben, what happened? Did you become... I'm just like you. Ben went silent for a moment after saying that. Alright, we can help you. Thank you so much. Listen, I live in Silvershine in the woods. If you're facing the front of the high school, go to the left side. Look for a treehouse with 2 candles on the window to the right of the door. Alright, see you, Ben. The phone hangs up and Ben looks at Scarlett smiling. Scarlett was asleep. Ben walked towards Scarlett, placing a blanket over her, hoping she becomes warm. Ben kisses her head and sits in the chair next to her bed. Sweet dreams, Scarlett. I will always protect you. By the time it was morning, Ben was sleeping in the chair, snoring like a horse. Scarlett had woken up and gotten herself dressed for the first day of summer. She stood outside the door of the treehouse and took a breath of fresh air. Scarlett goes back inside and creates a hunting hat to hide her wound. Morning, I guess, said Ben. Scarlett looks up and smiles. I didn't want to wake you, said Scarlett. You're the only one I know that lets me sleep in sometimes, Ben said in a laughing way. Yeah, I get... Scarlett stopped mid-sentence. A sound of a clock came from outside. Ben turned around and walked towards the door. Scarlett, hide, whispered Ben. I quickly hid myself from whatever was outside. Ben went outside and looked around. You're here already? I only talked to you last night, Ben said. Come inside. Ben had come back in the house with the people from outside. I don't know if I should be scared or not. Scarlett, you can come out now. These are my friends. I called last night, said Ben. A quiet chatter came from the room Ben was in. I peeked my head out into the other room. It's okay, Scarlett. They want to help us, said Ben. I smiled and placed my hand on my head to hide my wound. I walked into the room with Ben and stood next to him, having my head tilted down with my eyes looking at a group of people. Ben places his arm around me. Everyone, this is Scarlett. We need your help, said Ben. Hello. Nice to meet you. It's an honor, Miss Scarlett. What's up? Hi. Hi, everyone, Scarlett said in fear. Scarlett, this is Lulu, Jack, Slender, Jeff, and... Who's this? Said Ben. This is Lazari. She's our family now, said Slender. Ben looked around. Where's Jane? Slender looks at Jeff with a mad look on his face. I'll have to get back to you on that, said Slender. After meeting everyone, I felt calm and relaxed to meet everyone. Lulu looked about my age. She had long black hair but no eyes in her socket. Lulu wore a long blue dress. That's all I'm going to be doing for this stream. See you guys next time. Bye!